ready? England, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Up we go, and the time goes on, 75 seconds, and we're off, and we're running, and we're lifting nicely here at Fix Fest 2026 in the sunshine. Up we go again, another good lift, and he's lifting well, and could this be another England victory? England going all the way, England reigning supreme here at Fix Fest.
I'll talk. What's happening? Here we are at Fix Fest. None other than Mr. Joel Cook.
Yes,
we've got Jason here. We've got John with us here. Rick's here. Chris is here, and Mr. Johnstone is on the way. But you can see they've gone all out here, guys. I mean, look at the size of this stage. Got the VIP area over here. This is just one end of Fix Fest. It's 3 times the size as this. It goes right round, all the way round. There's so much to do for the kids, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been wicked, man. Met so many people as well, to be fair, it's been mad. Boat builders are here. The tractors, JCB.
Yeah,
that was a right shot. Britain's strongest men have been here.
Strongest men just been lifting up the van. Yeah. All sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a great day out, man.
Try and make it next year if you can, because you don't want to miss this.
I'll be back next year, definitely.
To have Stu and to have Joel with us today. I'm going to invite them both to come up. Stu, why don't you sit here, and Joel in the far seat there. Stu and Joel are going to tell us a little bit about their story, their journey to building connection and building friendship. I must warn you both, these are like whoopee cushions. When you sit down, they fart. I told you. So, Stu, let's start with you. You're a tradesman, you're a plasterer. Just tell us a little bit of your story. What do you notice out there? Because plasterers, as I understand it, find themselves often coming into jobs for small parts of sections of a build, for example, and working on your own, working often late or long hours, and getting a job done, but then going back home again, going back on the next job, all that sort of stuff. What did you notice in that process? Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure, yeah, so, I mean, as you've highlighted, we're kind of piggy in the middle on renovations. We're typically working against the clock. The pressure's on, really, to get the finish right so the decorators can move in. So most of our issues, really, you know, aside from the self-employment side of it, is the isolation. You know, 99% of spreads are working alone. They're sole traders, they're working alone. And this was the issue that I had, you know, 15 years ago when I started my business. There was no real kind of roadmap to building a business, having continuous lead generation, how to sustain my family financially, how to, you know, provide year in and year out. And it was kind of, you know, the advice that was given out really was, you know, stick a sign on the side of your van, join check a trade, and cross your fingers and hope for the best. And you know, along that journey somewhere, I just became lost and completely isolated and alone in what I was doing.
Just tell us a bit about that. Take us there. So how do you find yourself lost? Because I can imagine that, you know, you're there sort of, I don't know the language, but sort of spreading the muck or whatever. What do you say? Skimming. And it's quite methodical, isn't it? Quite rhythmic. But I also imagine boring after a while, especially if you find yourself on your own. Monotonous.
Yeah.
So what happened to you? Just take us into that space.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, like the pressure on me. I'd started a young family at this age. You know, 25 years old. My wife's pregnant with, you know, our second, third child. The family's growing, but the business was just sort of kind of stagnating. So really, the financial pressure and the isolation is what was really playing on my mind, and there was nobody really for me to turn to ask for help. So that was the idea of building this community online, so that I could kind of ask questions to the more experienced plasterers, pull us all together, and try to create a supportive network really, where we can all sort of draw from one another without the competitive nature. Because I was members of other groups online, you know, but there was a lot of trolling going on.
But isn't that the same? That's what I was thinking, that it's quite brave to set up a group online to then be vulnerable, if you like, and say, help, I'm feeling isolated, I'd like to be better at my skill, I'm not as good as I could be. How do you find that, or what have you seen online? Because I imagine there's quite a lot of abuse, or there's quite a lot of people just telling you to grow a pair, man up, or that kind of chat. How did you deal with that?
That was the kind of culture. I mean, when I first started Trial Talk, I didn't start Trial Talk and say, oh, hi guys, I need help, you know, I need some advice, support. I was the person giving it to the younger plasterers, because I suppose it was something I was lacking myself, so I wanted to try and give that back to the young lads 18, 19, 20 that were building their name up and their local brand up and going self-employed. I was trying to offer them down tips and strategies so they could avoid the same pitfalls that I had.
I like that. So the idea of trying to find help for yourself is offer the help you want. Be the change that you are, that you need for someone else.
Sure. So,
and how did you come across Joel? Joel, what's your connection here? Do you want to pass the mic? Just tell us a little bit about. You're also a skimmer, plasterer.
I do mainly rendering. I work outside mainly, but I met Stuart through social media, through his group, and we share quite a lot of the same values really. So it just naturally was drawn together.
What are those values?
Just helping, you know, we say young guys 18, 19, 20, but there's even people like 30, 40, nearly 50 who, you know, they get the stuff that we talk about and share, they get something out of it and it helps them out. And
tell us, what would be a normal, what's the conversation, what kind of conversations are you having? What are you sharing with each other?
Well, I do a lot of content based on processes of rendering and what I do on the jobs that I do, and a lot of people, you know, they like watching the jobs that I do, but they never know how I get there. So I share a lot of information on that, whether it's the base coating, talking about different materials, products, tools, and I just share information. I go a little bit deeper than a lot of other guys would. You know, I go into detail with it.
But what if someone locally just nicks all your skills and says, right, thanks very much, I'm going to go and try and get all your clients? What are you thinking when there's that risk?
Do you know what? Honestly, you know that comment that question was asked me there. Sorry, I don't ever worry about that. I don't think by me sharing something or helping someone up is going to make me go backwards or downwards. I think it's a bit of a myth. I think people say that and it's a bit of an excuse to not want to share stuff. I've never felt by me sharing one of my tips to someone or putting my videos out that the rendering company next to me is going to steal all my work. It doesn't happen, because people, you know, they use us because of the stuff that I do and the way I present myself. You knowing everything I do ain't gonna take that away from me. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Tell me about how you must get a fey guys who come and say, "Well, no, mate, you don't do it like that. You do it like this, mate. You can't park there, mate."
All the time, yeah. I get told every video I do is a comment on there.
How do you deal with that in yourself? How have you kind of become resilient to that?
Now, I mean, it used to annoy me before, but you've just got to remember it's the internet, and people would never say half the stuff they say on the internet to your face. That's one of the things, and then it's just one of them. I'd like to say I grew thick skin, but it's just I see the reward of the people that I actually do help outweighs the negative, and that's when I just thought, don't bother me. And I get comments on every video I do. There's always someone who can do it better, faster, straighter. Do you know what I mean? So.
When we had our first hour, we spoke to England's strongest man, and we were talking about how strength and weakness can go hand in hand. And often as men, we are frightened, I think, by weakness, and often try and portray or overemphasize strength. And I know by reputation that plasterers are supposed to be some of the tough, strongest men in the trades. How do you, both big lads, I want to ask you both the same question, but start with you, Joel. What do you think about strength and weakness, especially with men, and creating connection? Do you find that people find you off-putting? You're a big bloke, it could be that people feel you're threatening, or why are you telling me? What's your angle? How do you kind of get underneath that and go deeper?
That's a good question, to be fair. Do you know what the funny thing is? My demographic of customer is mainly 50 to 70, early retirement age, old women, and they don't find me threatening at all. Not at all. Because the way you carry yourself, you present yourself. I mean, I am a stocky fella like that, and depends how you just carry yourself, doesn't it? I've got good manners, and from the videos I put out, hopefully I sound like I know what I'm on about, and it fills me with confidence. So I've never struggled with that. Do you mean from other guys in the industry as well?
Yeah,
maybe?
I guess that, especially younger lads might sort of see you as like, well, you know, can I trust you? You know, what are you trying? What would you take off me? Because many men, especially, their experience will be, you know, I'm not sure what you want, and can I be open with you? What if you rip me apart? If I'm vulnerable?
So I'll be honest. I feel like for me, I'm pretty vulnerable myself. Like sort of the way I might look, image-wise and stuff. I'm pretty open the way I talk. Like I've had a big business before that went under. I've been to rock bottom. I've been bankrupted my business before, so I've been at the bottom, down and out. I'm not there now. I'm way off it, but I quite openly talk about that.
How did you get what happened in that moment? What was the tipping point?
Yeah, I'm a plasterer. I'm a renderer. I'm great at that. I'm speaking myself up here, but like I'm decent spread. Right.
We had a guy earlier from Andy's Man Club, and he said it's important to be able to speak well of yourself. So that's a good example. If you're good at your job, say you're good at your job.
I'm decent spread.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I'll say. But a big thing about being a business and being a decent spread is we're taught to plaster. We're taught to do the actual job. We're not taught how to manage people, how to deal with finances. We're not dealt with dealing with people like who are quantity surveyors and people who don't talk the way we talk. It's a different world when you have a business, and I grew my business to like 30 members of staff in there, doing a lot of money turnover, and this is to a guy who was just good at plastering, and that's all I was really good at. I didn't know how to run it, so it basically was good for a while, and then it just, when everything started dropping, the plates started dropping, they all went, and then everything just crashed down.
I'm going to come to you, Stu, in a moment. Just want to finish with this though, with you, Joel, because a lot of people here might find that you end up being very good at something, and then success attracts everything, doesn't it? Especially with social media, where then you just get a whole bunch of add-on. And these days it's obviously quite profitable to go with that. But how did you cope with all of that sense of all the extra pressure of running a business? How did you build that? How did you learn? How did you grow?
Well, how did I get to that point?
Or how did you cope with it? So when you were there and you start seeing, okay, I've got a lot going on, a lot of people working for me, how do you grow in that space? How do you mature?
You see that's the thing, because you're not prepared and you don't know a lot of the things that you need to do to manage, and you don't have that skill set, you get to a breaking point, and that's what happened to me. I got to a breaking point. I had a choice to either continue, because I had contracts in place, I had work in place. I had the option to continue, and I could clear some of the debts that the company had and go down that route, or I stopped and I could just get rid of everything, and I could have went that route. And my decision come down to what my mindset can handle, and that's what it come down to. I was like, for my family and for me and for my own peace, I'm gonna have to pull the plug now. Like, this is my options. Let's stop now. And that put me in a hole for a couple of years. I went a little bit under the radar a couple of years, but I'm never going to stay there. It's not my mentality. It's not the way I was built. Not the way I was brought up and raised. But you do think, am I rubbish? Am I not good enough? You go through all these things, but it was 6 years ago, and we fast forward to now, and life's good. You know what I mean? I'm good. I'm doing good stuff that I want. So
it's good to hear. In a minute, we might come back to how you got to where you are now. Yeah. But Stu, tell us, with the same sort of question really, how do you create connection when a lot of people, especially, but things will try and create division? Division's more exciting, isn't it? It's easier if I'm rude to you now and make everyone laugh and maybe make it like a little moment. Did you hear that James said that to Stu? But what's harder is actually to get to know you and try and bring out the best in you. That's harder for you and for me. How do you do that?
I think on your platform you have to be willing to share your wins and your losses. You have to be, like Joel touched on, you have to be willing to be vulnerable and show your human side, and give people examples of where you've effed up, you've messed up, you've lost money, and you've got the finish wrong, you've pissed the customer off, and if you're willing to share that on social media, people will respect that and they will relate with you, and you become more relatable. Joel wears his heart on his sleeve in his content. When he makes mistakes or if things don't go to plan, he shares that openly. He doesn't try to pretend he's some sort of guru or got all the answers. And I'm the same way with Trial Talk. We're willing to show our vulnerability because we know that's what creates connection, and that's what will open the group up. for the younger members or those members that are a bit apprehensive, thinking I wouldn't dare post a picture publicly online and show my work because I'll be torn to shreds. Whereas if we can say, look, here's a finish where I messed up, the customer has said they don't want me back, that they've refused to pay me, but this is what I'm going to do about it, this is how I'm going to turn this situation around, and then be an example of the problem but then also the solution as well. I think that's what gets people to really connect.
I love that. I love what you just said. Vulnerability creates connection. I think that's so true. I often think about those mates we have where you meet up with them and they can't wait to tell you they've just got a pay rise, or their golf handicap's gone down, or they bought a new car or something. And it becomes boring, doesn't it? But actually that guy who comes and says, yeah, I'm not actually doing that great today, or my mum's sick and I'm really worried. If I was in the bar and having a drink, and I know for sure which guy I'd rather spend time with, because the bore of how great he is, at the end of the day, it's just a competition. He's just sparring, isn't he? Just knocking you with punches. Like, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. But the one who says, actually, I probably need you. And we were talking earlier that they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And somehow you guys have created a connection like that. I think it's amazing. Just tell us a little bit about Trowel Talk itself. What is it, and how do people connect to it? And then I want to come back to you, Joel. Just ask how do we connect with what you're doing, even if we're not plastering or rendering. But just tell us first, Stu, that.
Sure. Yeah. So Trowel Talk is essentially a Facebook group. It's a completely free community group. All self-employed plasterers are welcome to join, no matter their experience level. So if they've been in the game 6 months and they're an apprentice, come and join. If you've been, in the trade 40 years and you're pushing retirement, still come and join, because you can still create a community and make new friends. I mean, most of the lads here today in the crowd are Trowel Talk and Rendovate members. They've come along, we've made some fantastic connections. It's been superb. And if they want to come and join Trowel Talk, Google Trowel Talk, you'll see the Facebook group pop up. We've got training programs that Joel runs on there, because Joel actually trains people in rendering, so he can help them in that sense. We've got off the tools training for business coaching. We've got sponsorships by tool manufacturers and Plasterers One Stop Shop. So there's lots going on, and there's lots of value that can be shared on the group for plasterers of all experience levels.
And if you've got any other trades here, carpenters or sparkies or whatever, can they nick that concept? Does it exist across the industry, or do you know that?
I think, any tradesperson that's willing to create value and be transparent and share real world jobs can go and create a community. It doesn't matter if you join my community, Joel's, or anyone else's. I think if you're struggling in self-employment and you feel alone, you feel isolated, and you're thinking, I can't do this, you don't know where your next meal's coming from, that feast and famine nature of the job is so important and vital that you join some kind of community, whether it be mine, Joel's, or anyone else's.
Yeah, thanks, Stu. Joel, just want to hear tell us a little bit about how do we connect in with your community. Also, can't help imagining, I know probably it's just the physical size, but it's a bit like a scrum in rugby. I'm thinking there's the idea of just, well, there's a few lads who probably know what they're doing, but there's the reality of like each man shoving in the same direction as his buddy next to him, but with a different skill set or a different reason or a different mindset, but in the same direction. There's something quite beautiful about that. It's quite rare amongst men. Just tell us, Joel, a little bit about how can we connect with you? How can we get involved with what you're doing?
I think for me, I don't think I'm a patch on Stuart's group, to be honest with you. I feel like he explained it really well, but I think there's more to it that he probably don't realise that his group actually does. I've been on groups for years, and I've seen the abuse that goes on in them. I've had it at me, like I say, I can take a bit of stick, I'm alright, but I've seen other people who literally will just disappear because they've had some abuse. So on Stuart's group, it's policed really well. Like, he hasn't mentioned it himself, but the way he boxes it off, where if we get trolls on there, they're gone, they get told to bounce, and he boxes it off, so it's a safe place for plasterers, renders, tradespeople to go on there. And the stuff that he shows people as well, he were talking about the courses and the training and stuff that we do, but the actual content that he shares on there is valuable to these people who don't have a clue. and it's not just 18, 19-year-olds, it's 35-year-olds, 45-year-olds, guys who do not even know how to generate leads. So he does a lot more than what he actually says, to be honest. So I just want to give him that, to be fair, mate. You know.
I love this. Those of you who know a little bit about why I'm here, I wrote a book on masculinity, and often we try and embody health. What is healthy masculinity? I get asked a lot, what is healthy masculinity? I think it looks like you two. I think it looks like men who protect spaces so that people can be vulnerable, not in a vulnerable, weak way like poor me, feel sorry for me, but in a vulnerable like, can you help? How do we do this better? How can we grow? And in my book, one of the chapters is how do we connect better as men, as humans. And I think you guys are such a good example of that, so I'm super grateful for you being here. Thank you for your wisdom. These guys will be here for a few more minutes if any of you have got questions you'd like to ask them personally. But I think one thing I love about this, you come to a festival for the trades. There's everyone trying to sell, there's everyone trying to have a bit of fun, there's some music to dance to, but there's also some stuff that will help you grow as a human. And I think it's so important every day that we take steps forward to become more connected, especially in a world that tries to disconnect us. So thank you for that example. Well, thanks for being here, thanks for listening, thanks for those who've been here every show. We're grateful. Let's go and have a good time with the band's about to kick off, but also England obviously going to beat Norway later, which is a nice thing for us all to watch together and enjoy. But go and be the difference in the world that this world needs. I think it's super important. Thank you.